Turkey's ties with Hamas, previously viewed as a negative factor in Washington, have now become a geopolitical advantage. By persuading Hamas to accept Donald Trump's agreement on Gaza, Ankara further strengthened its influence on the Middle Eastern political scene, which was displeasing to Israel and some Arab rivals. Reuters reported this, citing sources. Initially, the U.S. president's ultimatum, "Let Israel release the hostages or the destruction will continue," was rejected by Hamas. However, this refusal changed under Turkish pressure. The movement's leaders agreed after being called upon to accept the agreement by Turkey, a country that considers itself a political sponsor. Two regional sources and two Hamas officials told Reuters that Ankara's message that it's time to accept was conveyed without hesitation. This gentleman from a place called Turkey is one of the strongest people in the world, Trump said last week after agreeing to Hamas's ceasefire plan and release hostages. According to him, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is a reliable ally who will always be by his side when he needs it. Erdogan's signature on the Gaza document gave new impetus to Turkey's efforts to occupy a central position in the Middle East. In recent years, he has been trying to restore such influence, even recalling leadership during the Ottoman period. After the agreement, Turkey now intends to derive political benefits from this, including achieving success in bilateral relations with the U.S., the sources said. Sinan Ulgen, director of the İDAM Research Center in Istanbul and senior research associate of the Carnegie Europe Foundation, noted that Ankara's success in getting Hamas to accept Trump's Gaza agreement gave it new diplomatic influence, both in domestic and foreign policy. According to him, Turkey can now promote the following: using the renewed atmosphere of trust in Washington, revitalization of the sale of idle F-35 fighters, easing U.S. sanctions to receive Washington's assistance in advancing security objectives in neighboring Syria. If Trump's praise-filled statements truly become long-term trust, Ankara can use this momentum to resolve long-standing disagreements, Ulgen said. The renewal of relations began at the meeting between Trump and Erdogan. The process of reviewing diplomatic relations between Ankara and Washington, according to officials, began during Erdogan's first visit to the White House in September after 6 years. The meeting discussed the lifting of sanctions imposed by the U.S. in 2020 due to Turkey's acquisition of Iskander missile systems from Russia. This decision greatly angered Washington at the time and led to Turkey's withdrawal from the F-35 program. Another important issue was Syria. Turkey intends to exert pressure to include the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, in the Syrian army. Ankara sees this group as a threat due to its association with the Kurdish Workers' Party, PKK, which it considers a terrorist organization. This action seems to be productive. SDF Commander Mazlum Abdi confirmed the existence of a mechanism for joining the Syrian army. Turkey sees this result as a strategic achievement. The Gaza agreement came after a series of events that further enhanced Turkey's influence. Earlier this year, Trump praised Erdogan for holding talks between Russia and Ukraine in Ankara. Also, after Bashar al-Assad's removal from power in Syria in 2024, Turkey's influence in the region grew again. Ankara had supported opposition forces there. Turkey's desire to restore its leading role in the Middle East reminds some of the legacy of the Ottoman Empire. A century ago, as a result of its disintegration, modern Turkey became a secular republic and was excluded from regional diplomacy. For years, Ankara has been far from high-level negotiations on resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Under Erdogan's rule, Turkey's political and diplomatic support of Islamic movements, including Hamas, has strained relations with Israel and several Arab countries. Also, the policy, perceived as a deviation from NATO values, distanced it from peace processes. However, when negotiations on a ceasefire in Gaza stalled, Trump appealed specifically to Erdogan, Believing in his influence on Hamas, Turkish officials, including intelligence chief Ibrahim Kalin, told Hamas that the agreement has regional and U.S. support, and that Trump personally guaranteed it. According to two diplomats who spoke with Reuters, Trump thus gave Ankara the role it dreamed of as a leading Sunni state in the Middle East. This has alarmed Israel and its Arab rivals, including Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. Erdogan is a master of expanding his influence, taking advantage of the situation, turning events in his favor, and making political gains from it. Undoubtedly, the Gulf countries did not like Turkey's leading role in Gaza, but they also wanted the war to end, an agreement to be reached, and Hamas to be withdrawn, said Arab political commentator Ayman Abdul Noor. Lebanese analyst Sarkis Naim argues that while Arab states have a common interest in ending the war with Turkey, the excessive role given to Ankara has alarmed them, as it is reminiscent of Ottoman rule in history. The biggest concern for Hamas was that Israel could break the agreement and resume military operations. Regional sources note that mutual distrust has almost disrupted the process. Only one real guarantee came from four sides: Turkey, Qatar, Egypt, and America. Trump personally gave his word. The U.S. position was, release the hostages, hand over the bodies, and I guarantee that the war will not start again. A high-ranking Hamas official told Reuters. Strong pressure on Hamas. Initially, Israel opposed Turkey's involvement in the negotiations, but two diplomats claimed that Trump intervened and pressured Israel to allow Ankara to participate. A high-ranking Hamas official stated that Gaza's military leaders perceived the ceasefire agreement not as a surrender, but due to ongoing diplomatic pressure, a severe humanitarian crisis, and war-weary populations. As a result of this agreement, Israeli hostages taken during the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023, were released. Up to 200 people were killed in this attack. And according to Gaza's health authorities, more than 67,000 Palestinians were killed as a result of the subsequent Israeli invasion. Whether the Gaza agreement will open the way to the Palestinian state is still unknown. Arab countries such as Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt emphasize that this plan lacks a roadmap for a two-state solution, a historical requirement of the Palestinians. When asked about the possibility of deploying Turkish troops to Gaza in the post-war situation and ensuring the security of the enclave, Erdogan said on October 8, negotiations on a ceasefire are important for a detailed discussion of this issue, but the current priority is to achieve a complete ceasefire, provide assistance, and restore Gaza.